Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praise unto Yahweh Bashim Yahshai Bashim Makakadash. Double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone. And honors you brothers to be pushing this truth in sincerity for the four corners of the earth. So this video, I'm gonna call this something to the effect of something alluding to prophecy. Because currently, I mean, you know, the topic of the week has been debunking a lot of these Christian ideas that they have, particularly the virgin birth, and I might touch on it a little bit over here in this video. But the purpose of this video is to simplify how brothers that are new into the truth look at the scriptures. And it's very simple, especially when debunking these myths that the Christian churches are put together, and it all comes back to different points in time within the history, like the Council of Nicaea, the amalgamation of Greek mythology and Babylonian mythology, Esau putting his own spin into the scriptures to make it where he is superior. And maybe perhaps I'll touch on that within this particular video. But certainly, in simplifying and debunking some of these myths, it's very easy to do so when one considers the prophecies and the laws, statutes, commandments of the scriptures. And what you see is a lot of disinformation is being pushed out there now, and it's very simple to debunk a lot of that disinformation purely by looking at the history, looking at the law, and looking at the prophecies. So I'll start with these precepts here, and then I'll start making some examples. I suppose a good example would be the virgin birth, since that's been an important topic within this week's quantity of videos that's been pushed by Great Millstone. The volumes that have been pushed by Great Millstone have been heavily going into the topic of the virgin birth. So this is the book of Revelations 1 and 3. It says, "Blessed is he that readeth." And that's the Most High saying, that's a simple scripture, right? But what you're going to find out is not everybody's got the gift of ingesting the words that are written within the scriptures. I'm going to pull up a script precepts behind in the background here. Not everybody has been blessed with the capability to read the scriptures that is in front of them and get the correct understanding of it. They have been taken away in cunningly devised fables. This is the book of Romans, the 11th chapter and the 7th verse. And the point that I want is within the 9th verse, but I'll start from the 7th verse. "What then? Israel hath not obtained that which it seeketh for, but the election have obtained it." So the elect are going to understand. They're going to open the book of the Bible and see what the scripture is saying. For instance, using this virgin birth as an example, it's a good example. If you look at it from the westernized perspective of the scriptures, or the Babylonianized perspective of the scriptures, and a book that comes to mind when considering these things is the book called Two Babylonians. And within this book is illustrated the origins of popular virgin birth stories that have inundated many cultures that originated back to the three founders of Babylon, not the founders, but the three prominent figures that come out of Babylon, which was it Babylon or Babylon or Egypt? I forget which one, but certainly Osiris, and then his Horus, and then the wife, which I think it goes back to Nimrod, Ishtar, and I forget the Babylonian name for the son. But basically, that's where the virgin birth came from. That story came from, and it was said that the child that was born unto them was via immaculate conception. And that story is perpetrated, I hope that's the correct word to use in that instance, as perpetrated into all of these different cultures that you have within the earth. So all of these cultures that you have within the earth, they all have their version of the virgin birth, man. And the same thing with Christianity. You see in it within the Christian church, they've got this story of the so-called virgin birth, but ultimately it's a non-biblical idea. Continuing here within the book of Romans 11:7, it says, "What then is Israel has not obtained that which is seeketh for, but the election have obtained it." So the elect are going to see the things for its simplicity. We're going to go into the prophecies, and we're going to see if what people are trying to say about the scriptures matches up with what the prophecy says. Remember, the scripture says precept has to be upon precept, on top of precept, on top of precept. So when we go into the book of Hebrews, the 7th chapter, no, Isaiah 7:14, which I can read in the background. When we read the book of Isaiah, the 7th chapter on the 14th verse, we find out that there was a young woman of marriageable age that was going to bring forth a child, and he was going to be a deliverer unto his people. But when we skip down into the book of Matthew and we apply this precept here, all that we can understand from the scripture is that we had a scenario where a man wanted to put his wife away after he had had sex with her, all right, for some reason. Now, instead of looking at the scriptures and saying, okay, we know that from Isaiah 7:14 that a young woman was going to bear a son, and he was going to be of the seed of Judah. How then can we make the story make sense? It's very simple. You understand the cultural phenomena that was happening at that particular time, and many brothers have done videos on this topic, where if we understand that if a woman was to be found with child in her father's house, even the scripture says so, that was going to be looked down upon. That's why Joseph wanted to put it all away. And that's it. It's simple. But like the scripture says, blessed is he that readeth. And the way you read the Bible, you're going to put precept upon precept upon precept. Okay? So let's read here I'll come back to Isaiah 7:14, but let's go back here to Romans 11:7. It says, "What then Israel hath not obtained that which it seeketh for, by the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded." And for the most part, I mean, you got a few individuals that are non-Israelites that are very good with the history and are good with particular things, particular aspects of the scriptures. But the Most High hasn't given them the understanding of the scriptures. What you're going to find out is the people that have the true understanding and the complete understanding of the scriptures is the men of great millstone, whom the Most High has sanctified from the foundations of the earth to understand this word. Everybody else was going to get it. All right, it says, according as it is written, the Most High has given them a spirit of slumber. Now, this is talking about the Israelites, all right, that are not of the elect. The scripture says within the book of Galatians 6:16 that there is an Israel of the Most High, and then there was just regular Israelites. There was a governing body that the Lord has selected. As the scripture says, David was what? A man after the Lord's heart. Therefore, the house of David was going to be near and dear unto the Most High. But when we look at the house of David as an idea, we found out that there were a lot of people, a great body of people, a governing body, if you will, of people that make up the part of the house of David. All right, but they're certainly not the majority of Israel. Rather more, they're the minority of Israel, because the governing body is always less than the body that they govern. Okay, it says, according as it is written, the Most High has given them a spirit of slumber. So this is the sheeple of Israel. Eyes that they should not see, ears that they should not hear unto this day. And David saith, this is the point I wanted, let their tables be made a snare and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them. And this goes back onto this scripture that I have here, because it says here, blessed is he that readeth. Now hold on a minute. I hear you say in the background over there, blessed is he that readeth. Doesn't that mean that everybody that readeth was going to get the understanding? All right, but that's not going to be the case, as we've seen in another scripture just a second ago. We've seen from another scripture that that the Most High set it up to where certain Israelites, this truth was going to be likened unto a snare unto them. They was going to open the Bible and they was going to be entrapped with a multitude, a myriad of different ideas and philosophies. They was going to get entangled by a myriad of different ideas and philosophies, because the Most High has not given it unto them the blessing of being able to open the scriptures and just read it for its simplicity. I mean, the Bible talks about the simplicity that is in Yahweh Shai. Okay? The Bible speaks about the simplicity that is in Yahweh Shai. How is it? Excuse me, just give me 10 seconds. How is it that not everybody can see the simplicity. That's the simplicity of the words that are written right in front of their faces. And that goes back onto the scripture that we just read within the book of Romans 11:7. More specifically, Romans the 11th chapter and the 9th verse, where with the scripture says that what? Let their table, which is, what's your table? You open up the book, you're trying to read, and it's trapping you up, man. You're trapped within Babylonian mythology. You're trapped in Babylonian and Egyptian doctrine, and you're not really reading the scriptures like how the scriptures are supposed to be read. So it says, "Blessed is he that readeth, which is of the elect." Now you have the understanding, and they that hear the words of this prophecy. Prophecy now is that word that was I had alluded to earlier. Because a lot of people don't deal with prophecy because the Most High has not opened their minds out to deal with prophecy. When you're dealing with prophecy, then there's a very linear way of looking at the Bible. Okay, there's something that was said from a foretime that was going to happen within the present day. Just like how you had it within the Lord's time when the Lord was coming up on the scene. You had it to where you had the different men within the earth that was looking toward the birth of Yahweh Shai. And I believe it was Herod that was looking to try and assassinate, all right, the Lord upon his appearing, because he knew that was the real king of the Jews, because they dealt within prophecy. Now we're in a time that we're living in right now. People don't deal with prophecy anymore. They deal with their feelings, their emotions, all right. They deal with the status quo, what the majority believes in, and that's an easy indicator to what truth is. Okay, an easy indicator to what truth is simply looking at the quantity of people that have taken to a particular doctrine, and then comparing that to the quantity of people that have taken to another opposing doctrine. And if you're going with the multitude, well, guess what? The scripture talks about how that this truth was likened unto a straight gate. Not many people was going to be totally into this thing, and very little was going to be completely and fervently into this thing, because the Most High has only given that fire unto particular men to get into this word. So it says here, "Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy." And the ones that was going to hear the words of this prophecy, I'm gonna show you something. The book of Isaiah 9, 6 and 9, rather more. All right. So the book of Isaiah 6 and 9, you find out that it wasn't going to be everybody that was going to be into the scriptures like that, man. All right, that was going to hear these words, which is a mirror scripture as well from what I just heard. But I like what it says here with regards to hearing the words of the prophecy. Isaiah 6 and 9, "Go tell these people, hear ye indeed, but understand not." That's what we're just saying here. We're talking about the simplicity of the scriptures, yeah? How that when we go into the book of Isaiah 7 and 14, I'm going to read it now. It says Isaiah 7 and 14, "Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin." When we go into click tools, and I'm doing this in the background, so you can do it at home. But when you go into the tools, you go into the word virgin. Remember, it says, "Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive." Okay, continue. What does it say? It says, "Behold, a virgin." What's the virgin? What's the word for virgin here? Alma. All right. When we go into the word Alma, when we go into the word Alma, and we look at the definitions of that. So it says here, what am I doing here? Let's go tools again. Right. Bear with me. Okay, so Alma, not Bathwallah, which Bathwallah would be a woman that was untouched. Okay, so a virgin here, when you go into the word Alma, it says a virgin, young woman of marriageable age, maid, or newly married. So a newly married, according to the ancient customs, a newly married woman could be still called a virgin. We just read it here. When you go to 1 it says newly married. But what consummates marriage? Marriage is consummated by sex. All right. So it's telling you here, straight and forward, that a young woman that's had sex could still be called a virgin. All right. Otherwise, the word bathwallah would be used. And I'm just going to use I'm gonna just go do the search on virgin. We've done this. We've done this a few times, yeah. So if I go to, if I go to, I think this is the one I want. Okay, so if we go to Deuteronomy 22 and 23, it says, if a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed to an husband, and a man find her in a city and lie with her, and it goes on. So if a woman gets raped, and then that goes into set, and it says abath wallah here, which is the word for virgin used. You can do this at home when you go into the tools, the Hebrew words. And here a virgin is just one definition, which is virgin, an untouched woman. And it's that simple, but not everybody was going to see it for that simplicity. For the simplicity, I hope I illustrate it for you guys at home. Not everybody was going to see it like that, and that's due to this particular precept here. And he said, "Go tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not. See ye indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut up their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert and be healed." So the healing that comes with these scriptures, these words of these Bible, was not going to be opened out to everybody. Jesus Christ, I'm making these videos longer and longer and longer. Okay, so we'll read this precept again, and I'll call it quits before I get too carried away. Revelations 1 and 3 says, "Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the word of this prophecy, and keep those things that are written therein, for the time is at hand." And not everybody was going to read the scriptures and understand them. It's just that simple. So with that, I'm going to say all praise unto Yahweh, unto the apostles of great millstone, honest brothers to be pushing this truth in sincerity. Shalom.